Welcome. We're going to continue our discussion on stoichiometry. Unlike the problem we did previously, this would take a lot less time, but it's still my duty to explain how to go about solving a problem. Now, on my introductory slide, I did mention there's two primary kinds of stoichiometry concepts. One is where one is limiting, which is exactly the problem we did previously, and I did remember mentioning if your problem contains a limiting reactant, you will not be told which one is, and it's really your job to figure out. And usually it's one of those problems that tend to take a little bit more time. On the other hand, if one of your reactant is the excess, then you'll be precisely told which one that is, and that means the problem becomes simple all of a sudden. So the question asks you how many grams of aluminum chloride, which is this right here, okay, you're asked to produce how many grams of this is formed when 3.45 grams of aluminum, which is this, reacts with excess HCl. You see how I translated a question into terms that I can easily work with, right? It doesn't matter whether it's excess or limiting, you still have to balance. And if I balance, I think this is what I end up with. That's up to you to go figure it out if I'm right or wrong. But I'm right, so sorry. This is going to be 2 as well. It's your job to balance. Just don't go with what I write. I may make a mistake, and you may be carrying that mistake if you don't actually practice that yourself. So when one of the reactant is excess, then just imagine that reactant is not there. You still have to balance, so don't make this adjustment before you balance. You do this after you balance. So basically, we're comparing this and this, okay? So you're starting with the given information, 3.45 grams of Al, and that's your given information. That always goes in the far top left cell. And you have to still use the mole ratio between these two, but we cannot go from gram to mole ratio. The term mole ratio contains moles, so we got to go from grams to moles. And the molar mass of aluminum is right about 27 grams over 1 mole. This is for Al. And now we can see that our grams disappear. We still have to get rid of the mole, and that's where precisely our mole ratio comes in. For 2 moles of Al, you got 2 moles of AlCl3. Right? 2:2. So now we have got rid of moles of Al as well. And here, what we get is basically your limiting, right? Because we already know this is excess, so we don't need to repeat the calculation for HCl because it's already been told to you that it is excess. So this is moles of AlCl3, and that would be 3.45 over 27. That's times 1, so basically 0.127 moles. And to actually find grams of AlCl3, you know better that when you want to go from moles to grams, you have to multiply by the molar mass. And aluminum is 27 plus chlorine is right about 35 times 3. That's 132 grams over 1 mole. And that'll be it. So 0.127 times 132, that's 16.76 grams. That's it. How simple is that? If you understand how we are, at least you understand the rationale, then I don't think you need to memorize at all, okay? All right, stay tuned for the last and final problem on the topic of stoichiometry. And I'll explain in that video what are subtle things I can change when I write a question. All right, so stay tuned.